Quick history time. This video will be about the history of three Arab nations in rapid succession, because why not? So let's begin with Saudi Arabia. The first Saudi state, or the Emirate of Diriyah, was founded in 1744 under the leadership of Muhammad bin Saud. Then it started rapidly expanding in 1786 and came to have conquered much of the Arabian Peninsula in the early 1800s, but was destroyed by Ottoman Egypt in 1818. Fast forward like 6 years later and the second Saudi state is here. The state lasted for some time, but their land was contested with the Al Rashid family, who were eventually victorious, and Al Saud were driven into exile in Kuwait of all places. But fear not, for the third Saudi state is here, which came into existence with the recapturing of Riyadh by Abdulaziz Al Saud. While the Ottomans were too busy, not existing anymore, the Sultanate of Najd continued expanding, and eventually conquered the Kingdom of Hijaz, which was now administered separately within the newly established Kingdom of Hijaz and Najd. On September 23, 1932, the two kingdoms were united as the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and that day is now the Saudi National Day. In 1938, vast reserves of oil were discovered in the Al-Ihsa region along the coast of the Arabian Gulf, and full-scale development of the oil fields began in 1941 under Aramco. Oil provided Saudi Arabia with economic prosperity and substantial political leverage internationally. And now we're here. On to Libya. The region of Libya changed hands far more times than I can count, but what we care about is the Italian occupation. Omar al-Mukhtar rose to prominence as a resistance leader against Italian colonization and became a national hero despite his capture and execution on September 16, 1931. Fun fact, his face is currently printed on the Libyan 10 dinar note in memory and recognition of his patriotism. Another prominent resistance leader was Idris al-Mahdi Sanusi, who at the time was the Emir of Cyrenaica. The so-called pacification of Libya by the Italians resulted in the killing of like half the Bedouin population within Italian concentration camps. In 1934, Italy combined Cyrenaica, Tripolitania, and Fezzan and adopted the name Libya, a Greek name for a predominantly Arab colony occupied by Italians. Anyway, Europe did a World War II and Libya is still occupied. Well, most of Libya, since Cyrenaica is now independent. Wait, Syro what is independent? I only know the United Kingdom of Libya, led by King Idris I, the same one that discovered oil reserves in 1959. Fast forward 10 years later, and Idris was overthrown by a Libyan colonel named Muammar al-Gaddafi, and he did stuff, and NATO's now involved, and now he has been overthrown. And now the country's in a civil war, which is now in a ceasefire. And now we're here. On to Yemen. Yemen has a long history of dynasties conquering and being conquered, so I'll just talk about its post-Ottoman history. Yemen started existing as an independent state in 1818, where they attempted to liberate the Aden Protectorate, but failed quite expectedly. Yemen was just kinda bullying Asir a bit, so they turned to the Saudis for protection against Yemen, but then broke that and went back to Yemen for protection from the Saudis. Fast forward to the North Yemen Civil War and the Aden emergency, and now we have two Yemens. Wait, did I say two Yemens? I meant one Yemen, with better looking borders than the last two. Anyway, what was I saying again? Oh yeah, right, Civil War. And now we're here. And that's it. Now leave.